Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Kind of a different modular update. We're in the garage, so I do apologize if I am echoing. There's definitely no noise canceling foam or anything in here, but welcome to the poor man's workshop. So we are working on a brand new modular for the Icey Railway. As you can see, this is my typical template when it comes to building modulars. Again, it is inspired off of the Fremo standards. However, the benchwork is definitely smaller. This is a 12-inch by 3-foot modular. Again, it fits for all my space needs and constraints. And so I've kind of done some new experimental kind of build work when it comes to the modulars here, and definitely some things I just want to talk about. So obviously I am not the best when it comes to carpentry. I'm still definitely a novice when it comes to building, when it comes to tables and so forth, and so I still have a lot of learning to do. As you can see, I still got some cracks here that next modular that I do, I need to make sure I forgot about the wood putty to kind of seal these corners off and so forth, and doing some experimental kind of builds and how my processes are going to work. But again, I'm kind of just experimenting with that. Once I get a more handling and understanding, I'll do a full length video from design all the way to building. But as far as this module is concerned, if you guys have been seeing my AnyRail series, I've been building and designing kind of experimental modulars. Well, now we're going to put that into practice. So this is actually the wave modular that I'm building right now. This is what's going to get us that third rail accessibility. And so this was a high priority for me to get done. And so that's what we're doing here today. Now this is kind of part one. The next part will be kind of it connected to the railway to talk about the wiring and everything and how it's going to be constructed. But when it comes to this type of stuff, I tend to like to build in private. I'll give you guys some snapshot videos of some updates and so forth. But when it comes to the building process, for now, I tend to keep that private because I listen to a lot of music when I build. I just need some sort of distraction. And so obviously I can't record that when I have music at the same time. But anyways, so two things I want to talk about is kind of how I built this and kind of the paint that I've got here to prime it. So when I built my Memorial Pass, I realized that I have to prime my modulars. And so I'm actually quite satisfied with this primer, and I'll talk about that right now. And so the primer that I kind of used is this like mold killing primer. It does a whole bunch of cool things for me. It kills existing mold, mildew, odor-causing bacteria, and so forth. Now, I know this is supposed to be for like drywall, but I'm experimenting with the wood itself as well as a primer, just to experiment because you guys know that I have cats, and they, from time to time, like to use different litter boxes and so forth. So that's kind of the primary reason why I'm using this. A, it's a primer, and then it has all the additional benefits of the mold and just the odors and so forth. So I definitely didn't want that being a problem with my modulars. Luckily it hasn't been an issue, but again, I'm just kind of experimenting since I have pets, and this is obviously going to be moved from location to location. So yeah, I'm just experimenting to see how that happens, but I'll eventually prime the top a little bit of a different color and I will just go from there. So again, just kind of experimenting. I'll continue to report on the progress and my findings with it, but again, something new. And then definitely one thing I really want to talk about is how did I connect everything together? Well, as you can see, we've got these particular angled holes here with screws connected to each side. Now, my mentor back in California, we were experimenting with this Craig system. And I tell you what, this has been a game changer for me when it comes to woodwork because it has eliminated a lot of time and effort. And basically the whole purpose of this Craig tool is to give you a jig so that way you can make these angled drills and then you can actually put the screw into there. Now there are particular guides that you have to set up, and I think the tools are over there, but basically, let me get this, there we go. You can see there's a guide here, and in the instructions it basically gives you that the material, the thickness of the material that you're using, you basically set the entire jig up so that way you can get these corner connectors with the screws and so forth. So I've done that with the entirety of the frame, as you can see here. And then I've also decided to experiment into doing the top bit as well. Now I still got some more practicing to do with it, because unfortunately what I did with this modular is that I glued it down first and then I wait for the glue to dry, and then I screwed in the supports here from the Craig template drill out. And unfortunately that's where I've left with parts of my gaps here. So I think, and again, this is not perfect. The wood is not perfect. It is warped, unfortunately, as well. And so when I get more tools, like I said, I need a planer, I need a joiner, so that way it gets those natural bows out of the wood, so that way we can get perfect 90-degree angles, so we won't have these gaps. Again, in the future, if I have these gaps, I'm going to use some wood putty to close them up. But for now, again, I want this more functional more than cosmetically looking perfect. Again, I know if you guys are woodworkers out there, you guys are cringing at all my gaps that I have here. I did sand this down with a belt sander a little bit, so that way we can get somewhat of a more smooth side. But again, it's functional, it's working. And as I get better space, better tools, we'll build better modulars in the future. But I kind of just wanted to show this, just to show my progress. So, but again, the Craig system is awesome. And since with the wood here, it is 3/4 of an inch. Basically, you align this jig up to 3/4, and then you have kind of a drill adapted bit. Let me actually go ahead and grab that real quick here. So yeah, this is the drill that basically you would use for the template. So you would have to adjust it. Again, the instructor said that since I was going into 3/4 and 3/4 for the wood here, that you know, I'll just line the tool here to 3/4, and then these holes is basically, it gives you kind of a template of how to align it, but I just use the outermost holes here and just place them where I think I can get the most benefit out of the joint. So again, not perfect, but again, I love the Craig system. There's a whole bunch of different tools, different styles of jigs that they have. I went for the more portable, obviously cheapest jig that I can find. I tell you what, the fact that we were able to basically build this in a day, that's how long it took me to get the framework. We're on basically day 3 now, because it took me 1 day to paint the outside, prime the inside, and then now the next step is going to be, we're going to put the track work down. So I'll put the entire track work down. I'll make basically an outline drawing of everything, and then we'll put the road bed down, then we'll put the track down, then we'll put the wiring, and then we'll paint it the way we want to, and then we'll connect it to track. So that's basically where we're at for this update. So kind of 3 videos in one, because I was thinking about doing a beyond the railway on this tool with the Craig system. I still may do that, because it's still a really good tool. And then I'll let you know about the primer to see if it's going to be a good investment for the long term. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.